Grains are cited as, hailed as being one of the great wonderful discoveries of the human race that have allowed us to live in all kinds of stupid places like this where nothing grows for months of the year and you can store grains to survive that process. Great, it's a staple, and that's true. In terms of civilization spreading out across the world and empire building and all the rest of it, grains have really worked for us. But biologically they are a nightmare because they are a grass seed. That's what grains are. Phytologically they're classified as grass seeds. And we are arboreal primates. We have no business eating grass seeds. We have no way of defending ourselves against the deliberate problematic materials that coat grass seeds. And this gives us problems because we don't have the antigens to their poisons. And they have the best poisons available. Grass seeds are prolific across the whole planet. And notably, there's not one animal, except one, that has learned to specialise on grass seeds. Which is very interesting. Grass seeds are an entire plant in a very dense, calorie-rich, nutrient-dense package. They're a fantastic food for any animal who can learn to deal with them. Not one has. This should say something. And it does say something. What it says is they are protected so well that any animal that tries to eat them will be killed off. And the way that that works is through a type of chemistry that most people are starting to hear about, called phytoestrogens. And phytoestrogens are now being hailed as the way of propping up the failing estrous cycle in menopausal women. We're starting to hear about these things as their uses. But the plant isn't producing them for that purpose. The plant is producing them because they are endocrine disruptors. They're hormone mimics. In other words, if you look at it in a molecular sense, it looks like estrogen at one end. And when you eat it, it plugs into the estrogen receptors in cells and gives off very strong estrogen messages. So it messes with the hormone balance of any mammal that will eat it. And so perhaps there have been thousands of different mammals over the course of time that have tried to specialise on this highly dense, calorie-rich food source. But they end up eating so much of it, they take in so much phytoestrogen that their hormone balance shifts and they die out. And so they're not around anymore. The only animal that has been able to do this with any degree of success is a bird. Is birds. Because birds have, as a part of their anatomy, they have evolved, as a part of their anatomy, an entire organ solely to deal with this problem. Because they've had to consume grass seeds to get their nutrient flow. And so they have evolved a system of dealing with it. It's called a crop. It sits just above the stomach. And the seeds that it eats fall into this crop where they stay in a nice warm, moist environment for 24 hours or so. And in the nice warm, moist environment, these phytoestrogens and the enzyme inhibitors and all the other many of the other protective elements on the seeds get washed away. They're water soluble. They're extensions of these enzyme inhibitors I was talking about yesterday that coat a seed, that give it a timing mechanism. And so all of those protective elements are washed away, and the seed then comes back out of the crop and falls into the stomach as undefended nutrition. And that's how birds can eat grass seeds. Because they've evolved having to, and they've evolved a mechanism to deal with this problem. We are arboreal primates. We live in the treetops. We don't eat grass seeds. We don't have a crop. We would suffer the same fate as all the other animals that have attempted to try to eat grass seeds. And this is what we see. We, as a nation, as a civilization, should be bouncing off the walls with the amount of energy we are taking in from these high carbohydrate foods that we're eating. The amount of grain that goes into your average human being. We should be running marathons, but we're not. We're heavy, we're sluggish, we have to have things that wake us up, we have to have things that keep us awake, we have to get off of sofa with effort, we have to get out of bed with effort and reach for caffeine as soon as we can. Because all of these grains that we're consuming clearly aren't giving us the energy that they are designed to. Because actually they're designed to not give us energy. They're designed to give the energy to the sprouting process. And we don't have a means of digesting them properly. And we know that we don't have a means of digesting properly because they taste bland. Nobody eats a bowl of grains. Our entire culinary explosion, all of our culinary genius is based upon, it's going to have a large amount of grains in it, so how do we make that taste nice? We invent bolognese sauce and slap a bit of butter on it and a bit of salt or a bit of cream and a bit of sugar, and boom, you can't sell the things fast enough. But nobody eats just a bowl of grains because your taste buds are telling you there's nothing in there I can use. Do you get that? Get that difference? Nobody eats a bowl of pasta. Occasionally someone says, well, I do. With a little bit of olive oil on it and a sprinkle of salt or chopped up garlic into it, something that actually makes it palatable. But in essence, these are really bland, boring, dull, nutritionless, gluey foods. They do things for us, but it's got nothing to do with nutrition. It's about filling us up, gluing us up would be another way of saying that. It's about cheapness, and was about survival in areas where food doesn't grow for a very long time. In other words, overwintering. It served us massively in our need to end up populating areas of the planet that arboreal primates were designed to be in. It has served us. But in terms of nutrition, offers us nothing. It fills us up. We are arboreal primates. We do what all arboreal primates do, and actually what all mammals do. We eat constantly. The need to fill us up is an economic need. It means that we can then not eat for 4 or 5 hours at a time, which means that we can go out to work without having to think about food. That's got nothing to do with nutrition. That's economics. And it's, you know, I don't mean to shake a stick at any of these things and make them wrong, but it's useful to note that you're not doing that for any nutritional purposes. We eat grains in order to create space in which we don't need to eat. But the instinct keeps shining through, well, I'll just snack on that and I'll just have that, I'll just have one of those, I'll just have 3 of those. Because we love to eat all the time, and that is an instinct. That's not weak will, that's an instinct. So make friends with that. Don't eat such dense, heavy, gluey, intensely indigestible meals. Eat lighter meals that are less indigestible and eat more of them. Fantastic. Perfect solution. I'm a pig. I love eating all day long. The idea of only being able to eat 3 times a day, why do I want to do that? I love eating. But we've got this whole association around snacking makes me fat, snacking makes me, it will give me diabetes, you know, la 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 la. It's rubbish. It's about what we're eating. Get back into your sort of monkeyness. We love eating. Allow yourself to eat. So the whole idea that we like grains, that grains are this mainstay of our diet that we enjoy, that's true, as long as you can cover them in all kinds of things that make them palatable. You take that to bits and you start to see some very different things about it. You can't sell half a kilo of refined white sugar to anybody, refined white flour to anybody to eat. But you mix it up with a kilo of sugar and a couple of dollops of cream and sell it as cakes. Out they go. People love them. But that's not because people are attracted to the flour. That's because people are attracted to the sugars and to the fats and to the salts. And this is where we come into actual nutrition. This is what your taste buds and your digestive system are designed to hunt for.